In this video, I'm going to be talking about the Masks to Oscillator feature that's been introduced in version 2.1 of the Hue shader. Before watching this video, I recommend you be familiar with what mask channels are and what oscillators are. We have a video on both of these available in the description. But the brief overview is that mask channels are a global masking system. You can configure all these masks and use them to mask out various options, such as the Hue, for example, or textures. Oscillators let you set up oscillators of various waves that then you can hook up to modulate values between some kind of start parameter and an end parameter. So what is this masks as oscillator feature? Well, it takes a mask and it converts it into an oscillator. As an example, let's set one up. Let's go into modulation, oscillators. We'll go down to mask as oscillator number 1 and set the mask channel over here to be, for example, Hue. Right? And now let's go ahead and use this mask as oscillator on the Hue material to modulate the texture color. So let's press this oscillator button right here. Let's set the oscillator slot to be mask as oscillator slot 1. And now let's configure a start color, which in this case I'm going to set to this kind of red. And then the end color is going to be this kind of blue. Let's make it a little bit more saturated. And as you can see, we're switching between this red and blue color. We have like a mixture of the two. And this is happening because this mask right here for the Hue is being translated into an oscillator that then is driving the value between this red and this blue. So every part of this mask that is black now is going to be red, and every part that's white is going to be blue. And everything in between is a mixture of the two. That is fundamentally what masks as oscillators do. They take the mask and they convert the black to white values of that mask into an oscillator that then is going to change the value between the start and the end of the oscillator that we've configured right here. And so with this, you can pretty much take anything that's oscillatable and do more with it using all of these amazing masks that we have available right here. So for example, maybe I want to have a gradient color right here. So we can, for example, set up this blue and this other blue right here and set this mask as oscillator slot to be this capsule mask I've set up previously, which creates this nice gradient without using any textures at all. We can also get a little bit more procedural here and, for example, use something like a rim mask and then set this to be the rim that we've just set up. And now as you can see, the color, the main color of the Hue changes depending on our view angle. We could, of course, adjust this to however we want. Maybe, for example, we want to do something different where we actually change the hue of the whole Hue using special effects, global hue right here. As you can see, our hue shift here is oscillatable, so let's set that up. Set this to be mask as oscillator slot 1, and then adjust the end value of this hue to be, an offset. Let's set this back to Hue. And as you can see, the Hue is just driving the hue of the material here and is changing it. Another fun use case for this is glitter. For example, let's set up some glitter right here. So right now there's a lot of glitter, and what I want to do with the glitter is actually kind of have it be like angle dependent, kind of like Poyomi angle glitter. So what I'm going to do to make that happen is set up a mask as oscillator to be using a rim mask right here. It's going to be using this kind of rim mask. And then we're going to be going to glitter, finding the amount right here, oscillating it, setting the oscillator to be the rim right here, and then changing the start value to be 0, and then the end value to be the maximum amount of glitter. So the minimum and the maximum. And now as you can see, because we've set up this oscillator to be using the rim mask, it's pretty much hiding and showing the glitter based off of the rim mask. Of course, we can change this out to be Hue, for example, right? The glitter is only showing where the Hue is showing, or, where the drip is, right? It can also do something where we change the hue, for example, right? And do that, and as you can see, let's just set this to be like something like red. And as you can see, the hue is now changing based off the Hue, and we can go back to our rim right here, set the rim to be the oscillator, and now the hue of the glitter changes based off the view angle. Unfortunately, we can't use masks as oscillators everywhere. For example, the mask channel oscillator slots are going to be able to use mask channels as oscillators due to some technical limitations. For example, we can't really oscillate any of the rim parameters right here with the mask oscillator. And that's the same for every property on the mask channels. You just can't use masks as oscillators on them. You also can't use them on some of these GUI features right here. For example, you can't use them on size or movement offset. And these deformation and dripping oscillators right here have limitations. We actually can't end up using the back face, GUI drip, or touch reactivity masks right there. For example, if I set this to slot 1, and go ahead into modulation oscillators, set this to back faces, for example, we see we get a warning. Same thing for drip, and same thing for touch reactivity. This is just, again, due to some technical limitations. That's about it. Have fun.